Hello everyone, my name is John Michael Bushman and welcome back to Reverse 1999. Before we move on with the story, there are a couple of things that I have to announce. At the current moment, there is a rerun event that is ongoing featuring Barcarola and Fatutu's introduction into the story. And good God, if Nikkei had taught me anything, depression is somewhat frequent when it comes to East Asian gachas like this one. So there is that. And then we are just a scant 2 weeks away from the arrival of Matilda's mother, Beryl, into this game. And let me tell you right now, people are pretty about her, at least at the moment, or at least in the terms of the Chinese community, saying that she's not that good yet. But I'm still waiting on their word, probably as same with everyone, to know if we need to pull for Mami Buanish or not. So yeah, I think those are the two major things that are going to be happening. And of course, the collab with Atomic Heart. A lot of people are pretty lukewarm on it, given apparently the Assassin's Creed collab, which did give us a decent poison unit in Ezio. I believe it was Ezio that gave us that, but poison hasn't exactly been doing too hot lately, so I guess that's something. So people's expectations for Atomic Heart is pretty low, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it suddenly blows everything out of the water. So without further ado, let's hop back into the story.
Vertin, finally! The manor suddenly emerged everywhere like ants. Lilia and I couldn't take them all down. I would have acted sooner if you hadn't told me not to pick fights.
A mad pawn roars and jumps on them, but is immediately being pulled off and knocked out by Lilia. That is weird, like a weird conjunction being used there, but what can you do? Sometimes localization tends to, you know, be iffy when it comes to stuff like that. His limbs twitch horribly and his body soon shrivels.
Baleen, all they want is to attack, even if their blood will be sucked out. Insane! Back when we were spying on them, I told Sanetta to screw the peace agreement through the radio. I knew those geometry psychos and the Manus would go mad sooner or later. They were not that crazy when they were solving the math problems. There!
They didn't censor her swearing in Russian, but then they censored this one where she was talking in English. Good God, Lilia. Don't try to make yourself any hotter than you already are. Good God.
What the hell happened down there?
The cave is the key to be immune to the storm. There is a cave on this island, which has the same effect as my suitcase. That's what the Manis are after.
What?
But hasn't she also put on the stone bangle? Even if she can break free from that bangle, there is no way she'd let her followers keep carrying out suicide attacks. And if she has signed that peace agreement, how will she take the cave from a Pyron?
Vertin?
On Vertin's back, 37 opens her eyes. She puts out a finger and points it to the sky. In the eternal and transcendental sky, several dazzling flare stars are lining up.
What's that?
Back up? The Hall of Apeiron is in deadly silence. Only a visitor is still browsing the classic book.
I'm afraid you have overstayed your welcome, Ms. Arcana. I have to regrettably remind you not to overstep the boundaries, despite the great help you've given to us.
I take not thought for needless disputes.
Hey, sexy.
But to ask a simple question.
She gently closes the book.
The great philosophers. Ye seek the ancient wisdom, follow the sage's teaching, and pursue the noble virtues.
I'm just realizing
You
that
are separated from the world for thousands of years.
So, going
And you
back,
have not gained the human's understanding, nor have you sought for it.
I'm not even pressing
I find
any button
pleasure
here.
in this allegory of the cave. However, hast this been unto thee? That too led us to the exile in this cave.
The flare stars are approaching. Oh, God. They move in an orderly manner, as if they are a group of swift... What?
What are they? I've never seen these before. Why are they here? These things should not appear on this island.
No! 97, no!
The eternal and ever-circulating current has been cut off. Upon the silent sea, a fleet in black is breaking the waves and sailing toward the island.
Seneto, did you bring the humans' army here?
And that is the end of chapter 5. Holy crap, it seems we will be going on to chapter 6 as we move right along here. And, well, I have some cleanup duty to do, so we'll be right back. Okay, so the island of math and numbers is being attacked by an army that we do not know who sent, but suddenly we are cut to a special segment that will involve the duck herself, Miss Matilda Buanish. So, let's see what happens.
Wow. So this is the library in Burton School.
Well, nice to see you again, Miss Sotheby. Good to see that you're doing well.
So many people here. They're probably around my age.
A gorgeous sap green dress jumps into the library of SPDM. Its owner keeps talking in a sing-song tone, like a chirping Goldcrest.
We've also got this many shelves in the library of Sotheby's Manor. Are there any alchemy workshops and potion warehouses here, like in our manor?
Jesus Christ, Sotheby, you did not need to flex on him like that. She stands on tiptoe, looking around this place curiously.
Where can I find Miss Buanish? Madame Z told me to come here, but she didn't give any other clues. The people here really need Mr. Teakettler, who is always nice and warm to the guests. Just twist his teapot ear, then he can take you anywhere.
That is scary to think about.
If not so, placing a luck-a-day potion at the entrance would help as well.
That may not... You know what? I'm not going to question it. It's Sotheby. She can get away with it.
Before I came, Miss Buanish and I might have met by now. Or she will just hop up behind me. Are you looking for me?
Well, good on you, Miss Sotheby, to predict that. Hello, Matilda.
Oh my word! Oops, that was too loud. Where are my manners?
Sotheby straightens the wrinkles on her dress and gives out her hand like a real lady.
Oh, nice to meet you. Are you Miss Buanish?
That's Mademoiselle Buanish? The other girl nods hot. Oh my fucking god. See, this is why Matilda is my favorite character in this entire game. It seems to be a historic first meeting for them.
That's fantastic. How did you find me? Did you see me in the Oniromancy? Or through a crystal orb?
That's exactly how she does it.
Either way, it is the great Arcanum. I'm much greater than that. Look at you, dressed as if you'd just been to a ball. You are as eye-catching as the pigment board on a sketch. I saw you the moment I came into the library.
I can only imagine how she will interact with her mother. Again, at this point, we know that Beryl, her mother, is going to be added into the game, and we're going to see who Matilda takes from. Will it be her mom? Or if her dad does become available somewhere down the line, good God, we'll have the entire Buanish family be playable in this game.
A ball? Does the Foundation hold balls too?
God, Sotheby can be such a pure soul sometimes.
Non, I'm saying... est-ce que tous les amis de Vertine parlent comme ça?
Matilda is so flabbergasted, she just talked in French.
Never mind. Madame Z told me you wanted to look up the materials on the mysterious school that believes in numbers here.
That's right. Miss Moisson told me she will thoroughly check the documents in the Foundation archive. So I'll go through the books in the SPDM library.
I'm not sure where this event falls into the timeline, but I would like to think that this entire conversation is happening while Vertin and the crew are surviving getting bombarded by an army from God knows where they came from.
If we can find anything about that school, we can be of more help to Vertin and her team.
I'm sorry, Miss Sotheby, but I'm afraid the situation is going to disappoint you. While you spend the last hour looking for Ticketler's ear, the kind-hearted monitor assistant already gained a valuable access to the library. But I haven't found any record regarding the mysterious school that believes in numbers yet.
Like a bolt out of the blue.
Oh, but Miss Moisson said there are so many books here that they can cover the entire back of a Stronsay beast.
Sometimes I am afraid as to what kind of creature Sotheby is referring to. She's that adventurous type.
That's a bit exaggerated, but she's right. Nevertheless, the librarian was transferred to a more important position years ago due to the storm.
That's a bit scary.
Many old books are not yet sorted. Some even went missing in the chaos. The only relevant materials I could find are the stories of Pythagoras and some books on mathematical theorems. But I don't think they have anything to do with Vertin's issue.
What Matilda sees now is a pair of tears. Oh no! The baby's gonna cry!
That means I can't do anything to help them.
She is pulling out the puppy dog eyes, Matilda. You had better give in, or she will start causing a riot.
Please stop being emotional. It doesn't work on this professional member of the Foundation.
Matilda, stop lying to yourself. She looks away and clears her throat like a grown-up. Fucking hell.
Without field investigation permission, I can't take you out to collect information. But in fact, there is still another reference room only known to the most outstanding monitor assistant.
You mean you can just sneak your way into places that have classified information? Just say it straight up, Matilda. Good God.
Hooray!
See, she perks up just like that. Other students in the library cast disgruntled glances at again, I would like to think that this entire, light-hearted moment is happening while Vertin is getting bombarded. Just juxtaposition all around.
Shh, shh, shh. It's a violation to make noises in the library. Please follow me, Miss Sotheby.
Tall shelves, unfamiliar surroundings, an impossible mission. The girls walk through the shelves like fish swimming through coral.
Thank you so much, Miss Buanish. You mentioned ball. I haven't heard that word for a very long time. I remember what Mr. Carson, my butler, had taught me. He said, express your gratitude to fair ladies by holding a grand ball. I'll write to my father and ask for a brand new, unsinkable and maneuverable rock and roll park. I'm sure he will gladly say yes.
Oh my god.
Maneuverable rock and roll park?
Yes. We can hold a twist ball on it when Vertin and her team are back.
What year setting was Sotheby from again? Is it from the 50s? No. Given how she's dressed, it could be from the 50s, yes, but no. I'll have to brush up on the history of Sotheby's character here.
Please allow me to say no. The monitor assistant of SPDM will never participate in such an inelegant activity.
Because I do know that Matilda is in the early 20th century, given the way she's dressed. But I'll have to brush up on Sotheby here.
Wait, did you just say Vertin and her team?
Matilda, you're blushing.
We can talk about the ball later. The kind-hearted Matilda Buanish will try her best to help you with the task. But, of course, it's only out of her sense of responsibility, not for some personal reasons.
You're jealous. They go faster and faster. Finally, they reach their destination. Oh hey, the back rooms. To patch the fragmented eras in the future, and to store the currently unimportant files and reports, people built this reference room in the shape of a box with grey and white walls. Jesus Christ. During this awful time, which might last for ages, people call it the footnote of history.
Here we are. The reference room storing unnecessary information. It's a place ignored by most staff. Even so, this careful, reliable monitor assistant will not let go of any details.
She knocks on the rusty sign haughtily.
I hereby officially appoint you as the Chief Assistant of Monitor Assistant of SPDM. I will take my responsibility and teach you how to become a devoted Foundation member.
Matilda pulls off the cloth covering the archive cabinets. Dust rises in the air.
Here is your first task. Read through these unsorted old files. All of them.
The monitor assistant takes a dusty file from the cabinet. The paper inside has already turned yellow, which is not a good sign for paper.
I have searched all the archived ones. These are the last parts. Most of them are discarded administrative documents, low-priority materials, and substandard reports written by rookie investigators. By the way, you should know I didn't sort any of them out for you, and they don't necessarily have what you want.
It's all right. Leave them to me. I love reading.
You'd better do. Here's the key. Keep it safe. You can sit on the cushions there when you sort out the files. I don't want your dress to stain the stone bench. I'll go see if I missed any files. Listen, this monitor assistant will test you on your familiarity with these files when she's back.
3 hours later.
Double check completed. Looks like I didn't miss any relevant files. Phew, quite a long day.
You know, sometimes this is just a very tiny nitpick, but in a few of Matilda's sentences in the past couple of minutes I've been listening to her, there are times where the voice actor drops the accent. It doesn't keep it consistent. It's just a very tiny nitpick, but it comes off as surprisingly charming, and I already like Matilda, like as a character, so it just adds to it.
I doubt if that spoiled lady can finish all the materials. She must have been bored and fallen asleep, waiting for her tea kettler in the dream. It takes much more than dancing at balls to be a Foundation investigator. I'll send her back to that teacher when she wakes up. In the end, it will be the kind-hearted Matilda who finishes the task for her. Being a great monitor assistant comes with great responsibility.
Or, you know, they probably got an actual French person to voice Matilda. So, I'm probably just not familiar enough with actual French accents. So, she gently pushes the door open. That is a sentence that will trigger PTSD for some people, including me. Surprisingly, she is welcomed with an energetic greeting.
Oh, Miss Boanish!
Standing on a ladder, Sotheby gives her a big smile with a stack of files in her hand. The files she didn't finish reading are scattered on the ground, while the others have been well organized in the cabinet. Just Sotheby.
You didn't fall asleep. Did you sort out these files?
Yes. And I love these books in uncommon shapes. There are so many wonderful stories. I often read books with Sasana when Father wasn't at home. We read and read until the red bomb waves woke up the sun. Moreover, these files are much easier than Miss Moisson's reading task. Here, the gentleman from River Conway tamed a whole group of Avanks. How marvelous is that?
Oh, okay. Looks like you meet the basic requirements for being a rookie investigator. Tu es plus ou moins qualifié pour être mon assistante en chef.
She is, again, flabbergasted that she just talks in French. The young lady doesn't pay much attention to the mumbles from the monitor assistant. She is busy announcing her big discovery.
And I also found this interesting report. It tells a lot about the storm and the numbers. Will this be helpful to Burton?
Show it to me.
She takes a pile of yellowed paper from Sotheby. This neat and orderly written report has no beginning or end. Obviously, the author is a meticulous person.
I have to say, it is undoubtedly a violation to submit such a report, but it will be a travesty of the truth and human sense if I cover it up.
Peace, sense, justice. They have always been the creeds in my heart, and are now the reason why I've decided to write down the whole thing.
Is this the mysterious investigator that Vertin has been looking for?
A long time has passed since the first attack of the most severe crisis in our time, but we are still wondering, what on earth does it mean? That was the eve of the millennium, of which no one had any memories, illogically. The next day, time was already reversed to 1996 the moment we opened our eyes. We walked out of the building made of grey and white marble as usual, hardly aware that the sun we bathed in was from another time. Our survival was unexpected and almost unbelievable in such a calamity which swept the globe. Why did the headquarters of the Foundation survive the reverse? Why couldn't we find our younger selves in the outside world? Did any other region survive it as we did? What was the cause behind this calamity? I didn't know, nor did anyone else. Things remained unclear until time was reversed again. This time, we all witnessed that reign in the 80s.
These files Vertin needs?
I think so.
She says in a trembling voice. This monitor assistant, who always claims to have a cool head, has never panicked so much.
It's a report written by someone who witnessed the storm. And it has recorded the storms before Vertin became the Timekeeper.
Before she became the Timekeeper? Whoa. So Vertin wasn't born a Timekeeper?
She didn't tell you that? Wait, no one is born a Timekeeper. It's not an inherited title. Anyway, this report includes the secret chronology only accessible to the core members of the Foundation. You can only check it under the supervision of the monitor assistant before you become a qualified investigator.
Matilda dusts off the folder carefully.
No matter what the reason is, it shouldn't have been shoved in this dusty room like rubbish. To evaluate its authenticity and risk, the genius Matilda Boaniche will fulfill her duty as the monitor assistant and carry out a thorough inspection of this report. If you agree to this resolution, please nod, Assistant Sotheby.
The speech is full of terminology Sotheby has never heard of, but it doesn't matter. Based on the tone of the speech, she has already decided how to answer.
Yes.
That was 1985. A gloomy, miserable night compared to that peaceful morning in 1996, when we were only bothered by confusion. We didn't expect time to be reversed again. Nor did we understand the consequence. Even now, I still remember Paulina's desperate cry. One of her hens was already inside the safe area when she fell at the entrance to the headquarters, and that was the only part of her left to us the next second. The only legacies we found were an engagement ring on that hand and her favorite blue polka dot scarf, which we used to wrap her remains in the end. To be honest, I admired those who still remained calm and sympathized with the arcanists on the edge of mental breakdown. It had nothing to do with the 1/4 arcanist blood in my body. It was only the kind of empathy which all mankind would share out of instinct in the face of a hopeless calamity. We lost many, too many colleagues. In the materials they sent back, we even saw all the horrifying phenomena, such as one's veins turning into electric wires. Since then, the storm, a word simply taken from visual observation, has been used to refer to the calamity. Of course, we can have a word for the calamity itself. But what words should we use to conclude all the absurdity and panic? Before the storm, we were all familiar with time. It was supposed to be a straight line connecting the past and the future. We followed the line to move forward. We broke free from ignorance. We built civilizations. We developed technologies. We promoted the well-being of mankind. And we improved our living conditions step by step. We were so sure that we were making progress on the right path. But then, the path was taken away all of a sudden. Oh, time. Our closest old friend, where are you taking us? Back to the two most painful war times in the 20th century? The era when no one had ever heard the hiss of steam engines? Or the century when mankind was yet to be enlightened? So far, mankind has achieved a lot in history. Dynamos, automobiles, flyovers, railways, hospitals, poorhouses. But if it goes on like this, what is the point of all the efforts we have made? Now we are like a shipwreck left on the island of time, witnessing the fall of the whole modern world in the unstoppable tsunami. Even though the Foundation has lost a lot of staff members, they are still doing fine compared to Laplace. My younger brother was a good example. He was the most sensible person I have ever known. On the first day of the second reverse, he told me, in a calm manner,
"At least we have reaffirmed that Newton was right. There was never an arrow of time in classical mechanics. Neither in relativity nor quantum mechanics. That means this is absolutely normal. Whether the time goes backwards or forwards, even if it starts spinning around like a tabletop football player, they're not against the law of physics. We can go back in time and give Poincaré a Medal of Great Profit."
The next day, he almost fell off the 6th floor due to excessive drinking. All the perceptions of time and space developed to this day were overthrown. We couldn't find any theories to explain the storm in any existing researches. There could only be two reasons for this situation. Either we've been completely wrong all the time, or we've come to a brand new world. And this new world can never make sense in the way of science, or that of physics. It cannot be verified by an independent third party, and it is impossible to be comprehended through reasoning. Is it true that we have been going the wrong way? Is it true that those once proven wrong by history, those arcanists who claim to possess gnosis, are actually on the right path? In fact, the one who put an end to the chaos was indeed not a human.
Well, well, well. I know exactly who this is.
This thing. I had no idea what it was. It claimed to be a machine which never stops working. It laughed at the limitations of our brains and the metaphysical mistakes we make ceaselessly.
To top it all off, she's hot.
But it did solve the most urgent issue. A system was built to tackle storm-relevant emergencies after it took charge of Laplace. The first measure it adopted was contacting all the existing branches of the Foundations at the time to confirm the scale of available manpower. Then it built observation stations all over the globe to find if there were any other regions immune to the storm. After that, numerous offices responsible for deducing the cause of the storm were established. Even though there were countless disagreements during the research, at least we had taken the first step. I handed in the application to take part in this mission, determined to get rid of the fog in my mind. In 1986, I was assigned to the office in Egypt. All my friends came to the dock to see me off, because we knew it could be the final goodbye. Even though we were equipped with the emergency communication devices issued by Laplace, we were still not clear when the storm would assault us, or where we could hide nearby. What really scared me was not the threat to my life, but the possibility of dying ignorant. Then I boarded the ship to Alexandria from Athens. And that was when I met her. Now when I recall it, it was almost impossible to ignore that group of arcanists on the ship. There were about a dozen of them, all in eccentric stitched robes. They were followers of a strange school which mixes arcanum and mathematics. I talked to them. No matter how much that conversation bewilders me now, I was more excited than confused at the time. They also survived the storm in 1996, and they noticed the unusual changes taking place in the world as well. That means I actually met another group of survivors. From the Millennium.
She stops turning the pages.
Wait! A school of arcanists who survived the storm? A mixture of arcanum and mathematics. The ship on the Mediterranean. Unbelievable. Our investigator actually met this group of arcanists who believed in numbers, and even left such a precious record down on paper.
Does it mean we are close to being helpful to Virgin?
The chief assistant of the monitor assistant lets out a cheer.
Certainly. It's what we deserve for all the efforts today. But why did they leave such an important report in the reference room storing unnecessary information? Did they misput it here after the chaos of the storm?
Putting her confusion aside, Matilda turns to the next page of the record.
Among them, the most easygoing one was Hugh. He was an engineer as well as an arcanist. We shared the same preference for human technology, and that became our common topic. Hugh was in his 30s, red-haired, cheeks sunken, and deeply depressed due to some kind of eye disease. He was a decent man, with a prudent attitude, working at a desk most of the time. He reminded me of the imperial miniature painting artists in the Sultan's palace. Most of them ended up blind after toiling for their life. He showed me the picture of his daughter. I don't have children, but I could feel his happiness as a father. Although I got along well with Hugh, he seemed quite out of place among that group, which was actually led by her. I don't know what words to use to describe her. She was like a meteor shower, a tempest, or an unreasonable catastrophe itself. Her existence was just like her name. It was simple, yet implied a lot. Please forgive me for my cowardice. Even now, I don't have the courage to write down her name, if one would call that a name. In fact, she was quite a kind, warm-hearted person. Among all the unregistered arcanists I've met, she was one of the nicest ones towards the Foundation. She looked young, even though I heard she had a daughter too. Besides, she still possessed the innocence of a child, and that kind of excitement exclusive for genius. That's right. It seemed the whole world was like a sparkling toy to her.
Is this Beryl? Huh. Maybe. Maybe not. We'll find out.
Our communication was heart-stirring at the beginning. Both of us were eager to find out what was happening. Like two shipwrecked victims grappling at each other on the sea. But I didn't have the slightest idea what she was talking about, actually. The problem was not the typical communication issues between humans and arcanists. I was sure the language we used didn't pose any obstacles, but still I couldn't understand any words of hers. I would believe that one is highly intelligent if one can name all the factors of 11,567 without thinking. But what this one said was illogical nonsense which no one could ever imagine. She claimed that there is a world of numbers, above all else, where the non-physical essences of all things exist in the form of timeless, absolute, unchangeable ideas, and that the physical world where the time flows is nothing but an appendage, which has never been real or true. And that's why the chaos in this world is not worth any attention, and we should focus on what happened to the supreme existence. What an utter disaster combining modern maths with ancient superstition. I saw another hubristic arcanist pretending to be the prophet by reliving Platonism. I don't even bother to mention the balderdash on soul numbers. Even the New Age movement could use some of her absurdity. It was not yet the end. She even claimed to be aware of the exact year when the next reverse would happen.
My apologies. I've made an oath. I shall and only shall reveal the demonstration to people who have their own soul numbers.
I'm not sure whether she was making fun of me or being serious. but I had this feeling that she was eager to tell me how she was granted the secret through a moment of afflatus. It seemed she just saw through the laws behind all things instead of finding them through logical deduction.
Can't you see it? It is right in front of you.
After I expressed my inability to comprehend her words 30 times, she finally gave up and proffered regrets. I'd rather take it as a new kind of humiliation.
It's not Beryl. It's 37's mother.
What really irritated me about her, however, was her contempt towards science and all the scientific research methods. As far as I'm concerned, the value of a theory lies in its reliability, universality, and generalizability. Our pursuit of the truth has laid the foundation of modern science, allowing us to change the world. Yet, in her eyes, the value of a theory lies in its beauty. I talked to her on the current situation, and I told her how we would save lives and preserve the hard-earned technology of mankind if we could find the pattern of the storm. It was of course not an easy thing to do and would take enormous manpower, so I asked her sincerely to join the Foundation. Yet again she responded with contempt. She believed they would only become another military squad of the Foundation's.
Darling, maths are beautiful for their uselessness. That's why it remains noble and graceful in this sordid world, despite you humans' reckless action of using it to calculate ballistic.
She turned down my invitation and left an unfairly negative comment on our storm observation project.
The observation stations you built are destined to be toppled because their basis is the fragile world that follows the laws of physics. The efforts you've made are like nails on a sand beach, which will only be carried away by the next tidal wave.
But I said, perhaps our efforts are in vain, but someone has to do it. We will try every corner of the beach before making the conclusion that the world we are living in is already a hopeless ruin.
What a pragmatic, rigorous, and rational speech. But dear, the world is a hopeless ruin.
The conversation ended in disagreement. I don't know why arcanists hate the world so much. Perhaps the reason is they have never been truly accepted. To this day, I still remember her venomous conclusion.
The world built on past experiences has ended. In your words, which you used to mock us, why not embrace the reality?
Yet about the gnosis which she deeply believed in, and the so-called prophecies she made through numbers, she had never given any proofs or details that showed rigorous logic. And the reason for her inactions was an oath she had made before some stone? Therefore I believed her words were only the nonsense of a lunatic. When we first met, I thought she was different from all those psychos, who mistook the malfunction of their prefrontal cortex as the will of God. But they turned out to be the same. In the name of human sense, I swore everything she said was absurd and ridiculous to me. Until...
Madame Z said the arcanists on that island are all named after numbers, because they have a strong belief that numbers are the essence of their souls. The investigator wouldn't write down her name. Is it because of the conflict between their beliefs?
Matilda turns to the next page eagerly, as if checking a novel brought in class by some undisciplined student. But the reality welcomes her with an empty page.
Huh? That's all?
Maybe because the story ends with an abrupt stop, or the hope just raised has been dashed down. She clenches her handkerchief with her sweaty palm.
Submitting such an unfinished report would only cause problems for the reviewers and evaluators, but this investigator didn't even write down their name.
Don't worry, Ms. Burnish. I'm familiar with this situation. Every time after the brave Typhon defeats Jupiter, he returns to the Auto Island. But each time we twist the ear of Mr. Glassbox, Typhon will show up again and again. Ms. Moisson told me the ear is the key to bringing back our hope.
Wait, don't tell me you are talking about the shows on the mechanical television?
Ignoring the monitor assistant's confusion, the enthusiastic young lady starts looking around for the ear that carries all her hope.
Stop, Miss Sotheby. Please, take a seat on the cushion and listen to me carefully. This is a detailed report written by a formal investigator of the Foundations, not some TV show full of cliffhangers. That means we will definitely find the rest somewhere.
Oh, I see. Must be a Coco treant who took away the other part of the book. Usually, they will be attracted by Luna Fixer, and by following their traces, we'll find their lairs in the stable.
You mean someone took it away? That's highly possible. Data loss is not allowed in the Foundation, especially under the Monitor Assistant's management.
We must prepare Luna Fixer. Don't forget their favorite jigging magical beans. I don't have those materials with me right now, but I can write to them. It only takes a month.
That is not time you have, Sotheby. The disconcerting conversation is clearly too much for this rigorous monitor assistant.
Nuh-uh, we don't need that.
After taking a deep breath, Matilda takes out her crystal orb. An ambitious smile spreads across her face.
You've perfectly accomplished the task from me when you found this valuable report. Well done, Assistant Sotheby. Now it's time for the great Matilda to show a little bit of her greatness.
There is no moonlight during the daytime, but the moon is not the only choice for divination.
Judging from the omen, it's at the northwest, the beginning and the ending of the ring, where the wall reflects repeatedly.
Holding the crystal orb with both hands, Matilda keeps adjusting her position while trying to figure out the vague vision in the sphere. Sotheby follows her with a curious face.
The northwest of SPDM. This one is straightforward. The beginning and the ending of the ring is not a problem either. The icon of the computing center is exactly the Ouroboros, a serpent eating its own tail. Here we are. But where the wall reflects repeatedly, does that mean a closed room with mirrors? The mirror in the display center is a huge kinescope in the wall, and the one in the airtight laboratory is a crystal clear observation window. The one in the rehab center? No. The mirrors in the operation room have been replaced with curved electronic screens of steel structure after that Xenopilot made a scene. So, where is the answer?
She slowly turns around, trying to find the perfect angle for a clearer vision. A white figure storms away from her side, almost bumping off the orb she tightly holds.
Hey! You just hit me! Shouldn't you apologize?
Where did you come from, dork? Wasting my time?
The man groans a curse and hastily leaves this place with his hands covering his nose and mouth.
What? How could he say that? That's rude!
That gentleman doesn't look well. He's covering his face. His nose is running with purple liquid. Oh dear. Did he drink a whole bottle of purple Chrysandra juice? He needs treatment immediately. Oh, if only I had brought the Phoenix Heart nerves with me.
He ran towards the rehab center. Nothing to worry about. Just another patient trying to prove he has recovered.
The hasty man has disappeared completely. The little incident doesn't raise anyone's attention.
The rehab center has all the facilities and medicines he needs. He will be properly treated. But why is he wearing the uniform of Laplace? And where's the receptionist here?
Uh-oh. The lobby of the Scientific Computing Center welcomes them with a deafening silence. The counter is no longer busy with people, but with an auto-recognition device instead.
Does everyone go to the weekend party night?
Probing around the counter, the temporary investigator seems determined to dig out a party gramophone from somewhere.
Absolutely not. The researchers here are too busy to do that. The computing center is working on the most urgent and vital project, the research on the immunity to the storm. We should not disturb them unless it's an emergency. So please stop calling the office and put down the telephone, Miss Sotheby. This is not the ear of a tea kettler, and it won't take you to any twist balls.
The monitor assistant can't stand the difference in their terminology anymore.
Je sais qu'il est débutant, mais quand même, il est trop bizarre. Guide new members with caution and patience. Trigger the afflatus at the right time. J'avoue que Verten a remporté une victoire temporaire sur ça.
She is, once again, speaking in French because, good God, she is stressed out of her gourd. Her mumbling is interrupted by the owner of the cheerful footsteps.
Miss Boonish, I just read the map on the counter. You mentioned where the wall reflects repeatedly. Does the vision refer to the racquetball center here? You see, its icon is a bouncing ball.
Let me take a look. Found it. This is really the right direction. Next, empty boxes, glasswares, and copper pieces. Looks like our destination has piles of metal.
The vision in the orb is growing clearer, proving that they're heading in the right direction. That eases Matilda's upset mind.
Good job, Assistant Sotheby. I have to say, I might have gone a bit too hard on you. You are more capable than I thought. Thanks to your prompt reminder, we have saved quite some time.
Sotheby is glad to help.
The young lady gladly hops along the way, while she doesn't give up peering at Matilda's crystal orb.
Miss Boonish, since you're such a talented diviner, why don't you just divine the reason for the storm with your inherited arcanum ability? According to Ms. Moisson, the reason still remains a mystery. If the crystal orb can reveal its truth, everything will be much easier for Vertin and her team.
Divine the reason for the storm?
The brave assumption astonishes this great diviner. She almost drops the orb.
That's impossible for sure. It's a typical mistake of laymen to believe one can see everything through divination. You are an expert on potions and arcane creatures, but you have little knowledge on other subjects. Haven't you received any systematic education on arcanum?
Education on arcanum? I'm of course well educated in arcanum, with Ms. Moisson as my tutor, and my arcane friends such as Typhon from the Auto Island, Jupiter, and...
Alright, enough!
She shakes her head, stopping her from listing another name from an arcanum creature that nobody's ever heard of.
I have understood the fact that the education you have received is not, systematical, or say, incomplete, imperfect, inelegant. But don't worry, because you are talking to the kind-hearted Matilda. She will spend her valuable time to make it up for you.
The great monitor assistant clears her throat and starts recalling what she learned when she was 12.
In fact, the system of arcanum knowledge is not completely separated from that of human science. For example, the modern pharmacy and chemistry actually originated from the experiments of potions and alchemy in the ancient times. They developed into two different systems because arcanists focused more on the knowledge ignored by scientists, which is gnosis. The knowledge we learn from divination is exactly under this category.
Wow!
Sotheby's eyes light up with amazement. Matilda takes out her notebook and draws a brief sketch in it.
Let me fill you in with more details. If two human researchers test Snell's law at two different places at the same time without making any mistakes, they will always reach the same conclusion. Or if two potionists use the same ingredients and follow the same formula to make the cough cough stop stop potion separately, their products will also have similar effects. However, if two diviners respectively perform divination on the same thing, they will probably see totally different visions. Because what the divination shows is merely omens. The interpretation of these omens is in fact a kind of subjective deduction based on the reality, and there is no such thing as a standard answer. Even if the two diviners draw the same conclusion, it is more of a coincidence than a result that implies generalizability. So diviners never check the accuracy of their divination through the review of peers. And this is an example of gnosis. Unlike human sense, it is unique and possesses no universality.
She puts it away and wiggles her index finger.
In other words, even if someone finds out a reason for the storm through divination, they can't have other diviners verify it, because 100 different diviners will give out 100 different conclusions. The scene will be even busier than a concert at Musikverein. That being said, the more possible result we get from the divination is nothing. Divination cannot bring knowledge which the diviners have never learned. The divination of such world-class knowledge, as complicated as the reason for the storm, can only be performed by world-class diviners.
And even then, they won't be able to give a proper answer because other diviners of the same caliber will likely give a different answer. That's actually a really smart way to go about it. At least in, talking in the behind-the-scenes kind of sense.
We may find one or two diviners like that if time continues to be reversed. Like Nostradamus. But he lived in the 16th century.
So Nostradamus is an arcanist. Great.
Besides, even Nostradamus is not always right.
But Miss Buanish is. Thanks to your divination, we're getting closer and closer to that report, right?
She just got complimented.
You are right! Finding items, interpreting dreams, and making simple prophecies. All these things are just a breeze for the bright and clever Matilda.
She is literally I'm pretty sure she's hiding all that behind her usual bravado, but you do you, Matilda, you do you.
But inquiring about the storm is beyond my ability, and it will only bring misfortune. I will never make such a stupid mistake.
Matilda regains her radiant appearance.
In fact, this half of the report and the handwriting of the author are perfect divination media. Besides, our target is not far away from us, and I'm familiar with the surroundings, which have made things much easier than usual. It is true diviners can improve the accuracy and controllability of their gnosis by practicing repeatedly, holding the rituals properly, and making targeted preparations. But that still doesn't mean the result will be absolutely accurate.
Sotheby nods. No one can tell from her face whether she truly understands that announcement or not. Reading the vision in the orb, Matilda leads Sotheby around another corner nimbly.
The report says that person who mentioned the School of Numbers claimed she was enlightened about the year of the next storm. Is that also by divination?
I am not sure what kind of arcane skills they used, but numbers are indeed a kind of omen too. I am not talking about the specific knowledge of mathematics, but the numbers themselves, because they are even more abstract than images and languages as kind of symbol. Even so, there is no way for us to verify this prophet, unless it really comes true. That is also why it takes almost nothing to spread a prophecy. My mother told me many people in the outside world write to the Foundation every day, claiming to be prophets who can predict the doomsday and thus requesting unemployment benefits.
The doomsday? Unemployment benefits? Oh my! The outside world is far more wonderful than I thought. How fascinating!
Headpats for Sotheby all around. Headpats for Sotheby all around. Headpats for Sotheby all around.
Miss Buanish is even greater than I expected.
You bet!
Meanwhile, Matilda's ego is getting inflated more and more.
Wait, did you mean I was not the greatest?
They have reached the end of the corridor. Matilda puts away the orb and looks at the wooden door with no sign in front of her. This is where the vision leads them to, the room next to the racquetball center.
Here we are, Miss Sotheby. Now, this is the moment to verify the result of my divination.
She opens the door with a slight push.
If you look at the ground after the rain, you can often see a wet, long trail, like this one. At the end of the trail, there may be a snail slowly crawling forward. Yes, forward. The snail marks the direction for us. But what if we don't see any snails at either end? How are we going to distinguish the direction to the future from that to the past? Criterion. Well said, darling. To figure something out, you always need to make deductions based on facts and logical reasoning. What you see is not necessarily true, but what is logical is, because we haven't witnessed or experienced anything illogical so far. If something like that actually happens, it must be because we are too ignorant to understand it for the moment. This point was firmly believed by those researchers who worked in the house like canned sardines. It remained true to them until the first drop of rain rose. The sardines suddenly found that the knowledge they possessed couldn't support the point anymore. The can was opened, revealing a completely different thinking pattern to them. Whatever they used to mend the can, there was still a crevice left between the inside and the outside, and it could be ripped open again at any time.
So, what happened then?
The chaos didn't last. If it really was the rain that swept away the snail and messed up time, then we should look at the silver lining. Does it mean we will find out the truth of time once the secret of the rain is revealed? There has never been a shortcut like this one, since time is only an intangible concept. So then, observation stations were built all over the globe. The staff learned how to collect and keep the valuable samples efficiently, in no time. The little boxes they used to store the raindrops are still being upgraded even now. Order and silence were brought back to the labs. Every piece of gear was placed back on the right track. It was a grand feat, and no one could have accomplished it inside this huge, cumbersome machine, except another machine. She took no sides and sought only predictable results. That's why she made a decision as soon as she read that report and its attachment on her desk. The former was about a delicate component which flapped like a butterfly in that huge machine. And the latter was a piece of paper full of circles and dots. Then she stored the information on her hard disk and destroyed the report. And the paper which claimed to have recorded the locations where the storm might happen, yes, the one with the butterfly-like drawings, was retained for data comparison. It seems she's satisfied with the result.
So this was talking about, I believe, the author of the report that Matilda found, and well, again, this speaker talks in a very roundabout manner, but it does leave breadcrumbs as to the lore concerning this game, especially when it comes to the world before the entire storm happened. Let's keep going with the story. The light is dim here. Archive cabinets and unorganized files are everywhere, punctuated by strange devices in Laplace style. It seems like an abandoned utility room.
Where are we? Lost and found at the racquetball center?
She waves away the dust and struggles her way along the toppling cabinets. Excuse me. Oh my god, that something got caught in my throat there for a second.
The orb showed copper pieces. We need to find something that seems to be locked, but is actually not. Aha! Found it! Nothing can stop the genius, Matilda.
She finds what she's looking for in a rusty drawer. Obviously, the report has been here for a very, very long time. Its corners curl because of the damp air. Luckily, the writing is still recognizable.
The trip to Egypt didn't go smoothly. The ship was hit by a common storm at sea. We were lost in the fog after that, completely off course. Then something emerged from the water. Since the first storm, the Foundation has received frequent sightings of arcane creatures which should have been extinct in history. I had no idea what I was shooting at, even after I emptied the clip. And I didn't know what to do. Those arcanists brought us back on course. She names the precise longitude and latitude of our location, even without using the sextant in the spare cabin. I wonder how she did that. Perhaps the world did look different in her eyes. Then when I was about to step on a random plank on the ship, she suddenly dragged me back. I thought it was only an inappropriate joke. The next second, the plank broke. I was stunned, and asked her how she saw that coming. She just answered me as if we were talking about the weather.
Because that plank is deformed like a rhombus.
I was confused. Where is the rhombus? She laughed.
The rhombus can't be seen with eyes. You shall close your eyes, hearken to the teaching of the Supreme Existence, and seize the moment of afflatus.
Of course, I didn't see anything. Nor did I understand what the moment of afflatus was. Perhaps it's just another privilege enjoyed by arcanists, just like their right to be lunatic. Nevertheless, she reached the correct conclusion in a completely wrong way. Is it really possible? Anyway, she saved my life. But that was not enough to settle the differences between us. She remained rejective to working with the Foundation, and I finally gave up on the attempt to persuade them. My mission on that trip was not to make contact with them. Besides, what we needed was builders of the storm observation system, not some liars who would only make things worse. As for the shelter they took from the storm, she wouldn't say a word, as if she were dealing with a spy who tried to find out the deepest secrets of the arcanists. In the end, Hugh mediated between us. He gave me an address in Istanbul to which I could send the letters to contact them. After that, I spent more than half a year in the Egypt office. Things were even worse there than I expected. Some have gone missing after the storm. The people who were supposed to be in the Egypt office, according to the member list stored in the headquarters in 1985, were not there when I arrived. The situation could be caused by the limitations of the transmission of paper-based materials, or because the computer was not yet popularized to every corner of the globe at the time. One minor mistake of a copyist could develop into a huge difference. Besides that, the chaos inside Laplace was an even worse issue. I learned that someone published the paper Samplings of Global and Regional Chaotic Energy Route Changes in the name of Butterfly of Lorentz. Apparently they secretly used our sampling sites, yet their research direction and conclusion were radically different from Laplace's. The researchers equally divided into two schools, one sticking to the human technology they have focused on, and one changing their direction to arcanum. At the time, it was still too early to decide which direction was right, without sufficient experimental data. But many already believed that if time continued to be reversed, human technology would only keep falling into decline, while arcanum, which relies on personal ability, would rise again.
This sounds like the foundation of the Manus Vindictae, which is... Alright, this writer apparently lived through it.
It's true that Gnosis cannot be copied, verified by an independent third party, or comprehended through reasoning. Its nature decides that it cannot lay the foundation of science or be popularized to every ordinary person. It takes solid marble to build a castle, not slippery sand. Even so, what harm will it do to rely on arcanum when the underlying logic of all things has become unreasonable? Before the disagreement was settled, the storm in 1987 was predicted. We were ordered to return to the headquarters 24 hours before its arrival. But the prediction was not accomplished by Laplace. A captive from Manus Vindictae names the precise date of that storm. Our enemies, those lunatic xenophobes, valuing only pure blood, made it further than we did. Yes, we built observation stations. We made countless deductions. We developed multiple simulation models. We made efforts. We sacrificed life. We did whatever we could. Yet the result was that we didn't find any other regions immune to the storm, except the headquarters and another one in North America. In the end, 95% of the branch members were reversed. 87.9% of the equipment was destroyed, and 100% of our predictions failed. In conclusion, our endeavor brought no achievements. As for the captive from Manus Vindictae, the delirium patient who claims that oracles flowed under his parietal bone, when we asked him how he learns the precise date of the storm, he burst into laughter.
Can't you hear it? Has God left you behind when he spread his grace?
Then, he smashed his own skull with a handcuff. Yes, there was no doubt. He was an incurable lunatic. But his insane nonsense was exactly the reason we survived the storm again. No matter how unreasonable or illogical it was, or how much a lie it sounded like. So we'd better believe we shouldn't go out in black today because the fish is swimming in the water. We'd better believe in the existence of the non-physical, everlasting, transcendent world where everyone's soul is a number. We'd better believe in the supreme existence which caused the disorder of time by merely casting its shadow. That means the life of individuals means nothing more than rubbish, and the world is but an imperfect ruin, where only the chosen ones will pass the trial, where the rest will be eliminated by the rain.
This is exactly the type of thinking that a lot of the people on the Greek island of Math God think, which is... wow, that is a lot to take in. And so is the rest of this part of the chapter.
How am I supposed to do that? Finally, I made up my mind to write to her. I didn't expect her to answer my questions. All I wanted was to confirm if she had survived that storm, for the sake of our peaceful talk about the rhombus. Yet what I heard from them was a simple announcement of her death, with only 2 words. She died. Then it burned and turned to ashes in a second. On the same day, the first and only Timekeeper who just took office, the 12-year-old child, returned alone from the storm. She told us the time in the outside world at that point, and that was how I knew she was right.
It is right in front of you.
But if there is a god, why are you playing such a prank on us, after we had suffered from the collapse of all the existing orders and the failure of all the great laws? If this is what she calls a glimpse of the supreme existence, the moment of afflatus, do you have to present it in such a cruel way? The last 2 digits in the number of the year after that storm were exactly her name and her number. 77.
The report ends here. 2 digits. That's the full stop of the story.
Incroyable! Incroyable! C'est vrai! Quelqu'un a vraiment fait cette prophétie! Ertin and Sonetto will be thrilled to know what we found! Well done, Miss Sotheby! You performed as well as a formal investigator! We need to submit this report to your instructor immediately!
Grabbing the papers tightly, Matilda turns around with excitement. Sotheby isn't the person standing there.
What are you doing in other people's rooms?
Hey! Hello! Good to see you! The report is snatched away.
This is my personal item. You have no rights to take it. Please leave immediately.
A personal item? This is a precious record that should have been submitted to the Foundation. According to Administration and Regulations for Dispatch Personnel, St. Pavlov Foundation Decree number 259, every member of the Foundation, when acting as a field investigator, is required to create a comprehensive investigation report of all their actions and promptly submit it.
By the way, the fact that she also recited what was inside the parentheses, good God, Matilda. I'm liking you more and more as I play this game. Also, we're meeting, well, let's just say Ulrich's boyfriend. So...
And they are obliged to ensure the authenticity, objectivity, and impartiality of the report. No personal bias is allowed in the content. If you have read this report, miss, you should know that it's not even qualified to be filed.
But this is an emergency!
The Storm Reformation Act is still new to her. She can't think of any articles to support her point of view. She racks her brains for words, but before she makes it, the other person starts talking, with one of his eyebrows raised.
I can tell from your uniform you are a student of SPDM, or... This is Laplace. Do you have your guardian's approval to leave the school, Miss Underage Student?
Approval? I don't need that. I am not a student. You are talking to the exceptionally promoted monitor assistant of SPDM. Here is my ID.
She holds her ID card high as if she's holding the flag of liberty. She is ignored sadly. The adult walks directly to a swivel chair in the room and pays attention to an educational toy on the table.
Did you just ignore a formal administrator of the Foundation? This monitor assistant will report every misbehavior of yours. Every little bit of them.
Wordless, the monitor assistant can't be more embarrassed in her life. She looks around just to find that Sotheby is gone. Luckily, the chief assistant learns faster than she expects. The familiar sing-song tone is making a report to her own tutor outside the half-open door.
Miss Moisson, we found that report here. The great Miss Buanish and I discovered some important information. I came to you and Madame Z immediately after we read it. Miss Buanish, why are you confronting Mr. Chair?
Sotheby stands at the door, her head is tilted. Two adults are behind her.
I didn't expect to see the second half of that report here in your room, Adler.
I was gonna call him Argus, but Argus is a playable character. His name is Adler, and he's not playable yet. This time, the owner of the voice can't be ignored. The swivel chair unwillingly turns around.
Don't call me that, friend. Why not just call me Enigma? Just like everyone else. Relax. I know nicknames mean no harm.
I'm just realizing that he has... I believe that's a primitive calculator on his jacket coat thing. That is interesting to have there, Enigma. Unless it's actually the Enigma machine, but I think that's a completely different device. I'll have to look it up.
But I don't understand. How is a report filled with meaningless words of any concern to you, Madam Z?
It provides information about the arcanist group Virgin is now dealing with. If possible, please give it to me.
Of course. How can I turn down a request from Constantine's chief of staff? Take it away. I hope you don't mind the mold on it.
Enigma sounds like the type of guy who's just done with this shit. No wonder he doesn't get along well with Ulrich. I mean, I've played through the second version of the Pre-Storm Protocol that features Enigma and a lot of the other Laplace staff. Let's just say not all of the named characters have their heads screwed onto their necks very well, but they're geniuses in their own little chaotic ways. The researcher stays seated on the chair and casually hands up the report. That was easy. Madame Z smiles. She seems glad to see that Enigma still has the energy to be sarcastic. That's exactly what he's made of. But clearly, the monitor assistant can't tolerate such a blatant violation of the staff regulations.
Please pay attention to your manners and do not bring disgrace to the computing center, Mr. Rude.
Miss Moisson taps her on the shoulder and quickly looks in the direction of the door.
Ms. Buanish? Ms. Sotheby? You've done a great job. I'm sure what you have found would be of great help to Timekeeper. And I will report your active performance in this mission to SPDM as soon as possible, Miss Buanish.
Thank you, Miss Moisson.
We need to further analyze the files you found. The first on the scene could provide more detailed information. Let's get out of here.
That pose of hers, she was literally like one sentence away from saying ara ara, and I do not like what I'm feeling right now.
Contribution exceptionnelle!
My god, Matilda, calm down. Also, I also bought, well, quote-unquote bought, Miss Moisson's nun outfit recently, and thankfully I didn't need to spend too much money on it because, well, the good thing about Blue Pac is they rerun skins as well, especially the older ones. Well, not all of them at the very least. But I guess the lower rarity ones, I guess we can call it that, they rerun them, and you can use a special kind of currency to purchase them instead, rather than, use money. And, well, let's just say I can just farm for some skins in this game, which is amazing. The keywords give this young monitor assistant a giddy pleasure. She can't help but ignore everything else Miss Mossant says. Of course she would.
Oh la la, exceptionnel! No, no. Calme-toi, Matilda. I didn't accomplish it alone. Assistant Sotheby also played a significant role.
Jesus Christ, Matilda, you can just be a child, okay? Just act normally. You have that privilege more than Vertin ever will, because you don't necessarily need to be on field duty like Vertin.
Hooray!
A loud cheer interrupts Matilda's mumbling.
That is to say, Miss Burnish, we can start preparing the balloons and flowers for the twist ball.
She is still on that thing. Oh my god, this pure soul.
This monitor assistant still needs to think about it. By the way, just call me Matilda.
She struggles to get out of Sotheby's passionate hug. The great joy brought by Miss Moisson makes her actions clumsy. Cheering and discussing, the girls leave the room. Madame Z carefully puts the valuable report away. The researcher swivels the chair again and hides himself in the fortress made of dusty items. He talks through cabinets and equipment in a slow manner.
There will be no advance in human technology. You think so? Even the Madame Z has given up on the study of theoretical physics and become a politician.
He is referring to what happened in an earlier chapter that caused the Storm Reformation Act to get passed, which is... let's just say it showed us what kind of bullshit bureaucracy this foundation is up to.
No. I've never thought of that.
She turns to the door with a faint smile. And that concludes our little run through the story of Reverse 1999 today. That was a lot of lore dumped onto us, going through a lot of years back in the past. I think it explained what happened to 37's mother, and the fact that the number was 77, which is 40 away from 37, which should say a lot. But I guess... it also explains how the storm was, like when it first occurred, and other mysteries. It gave us a bit of answers, but it also gave us a lot more questions. So we're gonna keep going on this journey, but sadly we are out of time. So if you guys like what you see and want to see more, hit like, comment, subscribe, and share this among your friends. And until next time, toodles.